Hello, students. Before I announce as to what we are going to start with today, let me discuss with you the picture that is there in front of you. Just have a thought in your mind. What is the picture all about? Shh. Yes, it makes us keep quiet. This picture wants us to keep quiet. And what I have for today's class is the poetry by Pablo Neruda, and it is titled as Keeping Quiet. The poet wants us to keep quiet. The title is very suggestive and very aptly given. The title tells us that the poet wants us to be silent, to be calm, to be peaceful for a while. He wants the moments of serenity and tranquility to prevail during some moments of life. It emphasizes the necessity of quiet introspection, and he wants to create a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. Somehow, I would say the poet wants to convey that silence and inactivity both are very powerful. All this, can put an end to wars and violence and hatred and exploitation and disturbances of any kind on earth. By keeping quiet, the poet wants to convey that man can also, try to understand himself. And not only this, somewhere that the man is harming himself, not only himself but also the world with death and destruction. He wants to put an end to all this thing, and that is why title justifies the necessity and the use of remaining quiet in the world, in the universe, which is so much troubled by all kinds of problems. So this was regarding the title. This slide tells you about the poet. He is a Chilean writer, belongs to Chile, and Neruda assumed his pen name as a teenager, partly because it was in vogue, partly to hide his poetry from his father, who was a rigid man who wanted his son to have a practical occupation. So Neruda is his pen name and not his real name. In this slide, you can see the highlights of his life, what Pablo Neruda suffered or how he led his life. So you can just have a reading of this. This is something very interesting. His writings is all about, he says, if you ask me what my poetry is, I must answer, I don't know, but if you ask my poetry, it will tell you who I am. So somewhere his poetry was based upon what he actually felt. The theme of the poem is very interesting. It is, to question the way we move through our lives without, pausing for even a second. We are not, concerned for ourselves. We are not concerned for the world around us. And we are not concerned for, we are not, stopping even for a second to look around how nature is suffering, how the world is suffering, how other peoples are suffering. In the present day, where people have fast lives, people are least concerned about not only their inner selves but also the world around, also the people around. Today, all of us have reached a stage, people have reached a stage where they need to find the reason, the cause of sadness in their lives, the cause of the vacuum, the void, the emptiness that has taken a major part of their lives. And all this is, taking away, snatching away their happy moments from their life. So life today has become all about wars and about misunderstandings. And the poet advises his readers to break free of this routine of such a busy life by two very important words: self introspection. He wants us to introspect ourselves. Introspect, children, is to analyze, to have a careful and a deep thinking, deep insight into our minds, into our actions. We need to analyze our actions, what we are doing, how we are doing, what we are responsible for. So all this is the theme, and it is a plea, it is a request to mankind that the poet makes. He wants, all the mankind, he wants everyone to clean their souls, to cleanse themselves of all guilt and hatred. He wants everyone to have a feeling of brotherhood for each other, to have a feeling of oneness, to have a feeling of togetherness and a feeling of unity. And that would bring peace and strength to the people on the earth. Actually, the poet wants us to identify with silence, with quietness. The silence, which is very important because it will teach us two things. One, why is our life full of sadness? The cause of sadness, as I've already discussed. And two, he wants the people to analyze the threats that all these technological advancements have led us to. We are constantly living under some kind of threat or the other, those nuclear weapons, those war like situations, and every time we are under some threat or danger. He wants us to, to experience that silence, which will help us to understand ourselves, and which will finally, as he talks about in the last few lines of the poem, which will finally help us to learn a lesson from the earth, which is actually a great teacher. The language of the poem is very simple, very common words have been used, straightforward sentence constructions have been taken by the poet, and ironically, in an ironical manner, he sensitizes the reader. Sensitizes means he makes the reader aware to the power of silence. He wants him to be awakened, to be to be realizing of the fact that it is a very necessary step to take urgent steps to stop this destruction that is going on the earth. It is a brief outlook of the poem. It can be taken as the theme too. In this poem, the poet visualizes a state of comfortable inertia where he wishes for pleasant idleness. Idleness when we are not doing anything. And relaxation away from the frantic, from the mad rat race that every human being is involved these days. It also takes us away from the destructive activities and futile, useless wars which, lead to nothing. He wishes for a profound, for a deep silence and stillness that would alleviate, that would decrease, that would lessen the sadness caused by lack of self-understanding and the threat of self-destruction. And all this will help in bringing a sense of togetherness among the mankind. Now, students, let us listen to the poem. Let us go through the poem. Let's begin. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. The poet wants us, he urges the reader, he requests the reader to count to 12 and maintain silence. Absolute silence, he means to say. Absolute is complete silence. He wants the people on the earth to observe a brief period of silence. the use of number 12 is very important. 12 may stand for the hours on a clock or the months in a year. But in both the cases, the number 12 indicates the time of human activity that the poet wants the human beings to put to rest. He wants us to analyze, he actually wants to indicate, wants to tell us the manner, the way in which all of us are drowning our time, those 12 hours, those 12 minutes, whatever he may refer to by the number 12. We are drowning all that time in the noise that we create continuously. So he appeals to the people on the earth to observe at least once, such a moment on earth when no kind of words are used. He suggests no language during that time, during that moment, during that silent moment should be used. Besides the language of silence, he does not want any language to be used. Why? Because he feels that the language is a barrier. It is a limitation. It creates barriers among people. It would, when there will be such a moment, it will provide an opportunity to introspect, to analyze oneself. Sometimes we will all, agree with this, that language spoken in different parts of the earth sometimes create an obstruction in our way for peace. So he asks people to remain silent, to not speak anything during those moments. Not only this, he does not want does not want the people to move their arms even. Now here we would discuss a literary device. I would take all the literary devices in detail later on, but here I find this relevant, this line relevant to discuss this very important literary device, which is synecdoche. We've studied it in our previous classes also. Synecdoche is when a part refers to the whole, WHOLE. Now, he does not just want the movement of arms to be stopped. He actually wants the movement of the whole physical body, the whole mental aspect of the human beings to come to a stop. He does not want any physical or any mental activity to continue during those moments when the poet or when everybody should count to 12. By using this word is a pun. It can have two meanings. One, it may refer to the body, the physical body, and another meaning could be by using the word arms, he means the weapons which are used by different countries to raise a war against each other. So basically the poet is demanding peace from all of us. He wants us to be very peaceful, to be very silent, to be very calm. Here is the explanation of the previous slide. Then comes your next part. It would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. The poet feels, by exotic is a moment that is extraordinary, a moment that is very wonderful moment. Exotic is extraordinary actually. So he says that such a moment of calm, of serenity, of tranquility, of peace and of unity would be a rare moment. It is, it would not be a common moment, it would not be an ordinary moment, it would be an extraordinary moment. And man would achieve such an exotic moment by stopping all activity and keeping silent. This exotic moment, he means to say, will be a rare situation when there will be no sound of engines working, He wants to say that if everything comes to stand still, it will be a very different, a very unique moment. If all the engines like the vehicles and machines, all this will stop, then there will be a sudden, a strange situation as the world will experience a sudden peaceful situation, a sudden calmness. This moment will be achieved suddenly and it will be a strange moment. People during this moment will not be in a rush to achieve material things one after the other. So, sudden strangeness, alliteration. This is the meaning of the poem of the last stanza. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Further, the poet says that the fisherman will also stop for some time during this exotic moment, which will be a deliberate moment. He will not harm whales in the sea. During this moment, fishermen will not catch sea and it will not harm whales in the sea. This means that the poet is urging everyone not to harm the animals. Here, he gives the example of whales which are being hunted for the purpose of food or trade. He also wants people to calm down so that they can stop and see what they have achieved or lost. For this, he gives the example of the man, who gathers salt from the sea. The salt gatherer, his hands are so hurt and so injured because salt, is a harsh thing. So the salt gatherer will have some time for respite, some relief for his hurt hands. He will take care of his hands during this moment. Here, he wants everyone to stop for a while in order to see and feel what they have achieved and how much they have lost for the sake of attaining such materialistic things. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victories with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Now, what do we mean by those? Those refer to the people who are the makers of war, who are the creators of war. Those who prepare wars. Now, what kind of wars do the human beings prepare? Those, might refer to, or the makers or creators of war might refer to the politicians, the scientists, who are involved in initiating and, increasing the wars and running after the so-called material advancement. Green wars refer to the war against environment, war against nature. We are degrading the environment every day. We are damaging the environment with our activities, activities such as deforestation, activities such as mining, or letting the chemical waste into the rivers. So today all the human beings are making money by such activities. So the poet wants us to put a stop to all such activities. So green wars is environmental degradation. He appeals to the people to end this environmental degradation caused by exploitation of resources. So all of that, would result in irreparable destruction of life and property. Now, another kind of war that the poet speaks of is about wars with gas and wars with fire. So such wars are chemical wars, wars with nuclear weapons. Such wars are wars against mankind. So green wars refer to wars against nature or environment, and wars with gas, wars with fire refer to the wars against mankind. So such a war, the poet says, such a war would lead to a situation, the aftermath, the result the consequence, the effect of such wars would be so devastating that we may experience victory. There will be victory, but there will be no survivors left to celebrate it. He means to say that the wars that are created by man, that are led by man, may become a victory of man's scientific knowledge, but it would not leave any survivors to celebrate this victory. So we need to take care of this. We need to put a stop, put a halt to, put an end to all such kinds of destructive activities. And what does he want us to do? He wants to create an ideal situation in the last two lines of the stanza, and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. He wants the people of this earth, people of the whole universe, to walk, to have a feeling of brotherhood, to have a feeling of oneness, to have a feeling of unity, and walk hand in hand with each other, to become aware of universal brotherhood. He wants the man to realize the strength of humanity. So he wants that the people should walk with their brothers in the shade doing nothing, and they should put on clean clothes. Clean clothes means you must write down this. Clean clothes refer to, this is a very important line, it does not mean that shed off the dirty clothes and put on new clothes, put on new clothes or neat clothes. It means that the people today need to have a fresh approach towards life. We need to change our mindset under this shade of peace and harmony. We should put an end to all the kinds of destructive activities which are leading the way for a sense of belonging amongst ourselves. So he wants the people to be aware of universal brotherhood. In the shade doing nothing means we should experience this shade of peace and harmony. We should experience this shade of oneness, brotherhood, togetherness, this shade of strength, this shade of unity. Doing nothing, being idle, giving a pause to the busy lives of our to our busy lives. This is the explanation to this passage, to this stanza. You can have a reading. Now, what the poet wants to say in these lines: what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Now the poet wants to tell us that he does not want that all of us or the people on this earth should be confused with what actually the poet desires to achieve. He says that we should pause all the activities during this exotic moment that we have created for ourselves. But silence and calm, he says, should not be confused with lethargy. Inactivity, total inactivity, would mean death. It would mean the end of everything. So he says, what I want to achieve through this exotic moment of peace and brotherhood, of silence, of calmness, of serenity, this moment, this desire of mine should not be confused with a death-like situation. Total inactivity would be a death-like situation. It would mean the end of everything. Life is what it is about. Life is actually, it is about moving on. It is about continuity. It is about growth. On the contrary, on the opposite side, he looks forward to a higher form of existence. He means to say that life should continue, life should go on, life should not stop. It should not be interpreted as something very complex. He means to say that he only wants the destructive activities to stop, not the productive or the positive activities. He wants the constructive, the productive activities to continue. There should be peace, and whatever activity can be done to establish peace on this earth, those activities, such activities should continue. I want no truck with death. He says truck is association, relation. He says I do not want any relation. What I want, what I desire from everyone on this earth, that exotic moment that I desire, I do not wish to relate it to a death like situation. It is an idiom actually. It means nothing to do with the end of life, nothing to do with a death like situation. He wants to live life peacefully and quietly without bothering about any obstructions caused by an integral part of human lives, which is death. He says death is a separate thing. He does not want the people to confuse his desire because life with death, because life is an ongoing process. It is about getting up and doing activities. Life cannot come to a standstill under any circumstance. So he does not want the people to misunderstand his desire. He does not want the people to not understand what actually he wants. He clarifies this message. He says he does not want to have any relation with death. His message is aimed at the way of living. He wants us to stop for just a while to give some rest to our mind, to our destructive activities, which is always engaged in some or the other activity which leads to destruction of mankind, which leads to destruction of nature, which leads to destruction of earth as a whole. And he wants us to feel the calmness so that a positive introspection is done. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So you'll see, man, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, man is single-minded. Single-minded means he is focusing all the time on his individual goals. He is focusing on fulfilling his personal responsibilities. He is, in a rat race of mad competition. He knows no rest, no peace. He keeps his life moving, running in a rat race, in a competition against one another in the name of progress and advancement. So this is the life of a modern man. This is a very mechanized and busy life. We are all moving like machines all the time. So the poet says, if man and for once could do nothing, if man kept quiet and for at least some moments, if he would take a pause from his busy life, if he did not involve himself in doing anything, what he would do? He would introspect. In these, he would self-analyze, and in these moments of self-analysis, he would do he would create a huge silence. So what would happen when he would self-introspect or self-analyze? Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. So what will be created if the man stops doing all his activities? A huge silence will be created. This will be created by staying quiet together at the same time. When all the people on this earth will be doing the same kind of activity for a particular period of time, that is the whole earth, all the people on the earth are self-introspecting for a particular moment. They are self-analyzing, they are analyzing their actions, they are analyzing their achievements. Then perhaps a huge silence will be created. The silence is huge because it is maintained by the entire humanity. And it is huge because it is going to have a huge impact after this. So perhaps a huge silence will be created, perhaps such an exotic moment this silence will help us to to understand the reason for our sadness. It might interrupt this sadness. It might, put an end to the sadness that all of us are experiencing. It might put a stop. It might give us some time to understand the reasons, the cause of our sadness. It can be because of two reasons. One, sadness on account of never understanding ourselves. We fail to understand ourselves because we've never analyzed our actions, because we've never done self analysis, we've never done self introspection, we've never analyzed, we've never realized what achievements we've made and what losses we've made in life. So because of our failure to understand ourselves, sadness is created in our life, and this sadness, this lack of understanding, leads to isolation, and it ultimately leads to the threat of death, and of threatening ourselves with death. How are we threatening ourselves with death? We're all the human beings these days in the modern times. They are increasing the race of arms, and the mindless activity, the unthoughtful actions that the man is involved in during these days, in the name of progress. They are every day inventing new weapons, new kinds of wars, nuclear this thing, bombs and everything. We are hearing about China, about Korea, North Korea. We are hearing about everything destructive around us these days. And here I would also like to add one point, corona. I was talking about previously in the poem about how our deeds have led to ultimate extinction of it might lead to ultimate extinction of human beings and other beings also on the earth. By eating reptiles, such a situation has come. We all are aligned at the same level, everyone. I would say there is no fun earning so much through wrong deeds. We need not stagnate our lives, the poet wants to say. He does not want us to become the dead bodies. He says development and progress should continue, but it should be for betterment, not for destruction or death of other human beings, other beings on this earth. So what he says? He says we are threatening ourselves with death, and this threat of death, this danger of threat, danger of death, this death-like situation, this danger-like situation is brought upon ourselves by man only. It is brought onto the human beings by man. Man is responsible for creating such a situation. And further he says, perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. He finally takes us to nature to understand the simplicity that runs the cycle of life. He says, perhaps maybe the earth can act as a great teacher. Perhaps it can teach us the lesson of preserving life. Earth apparently is on the surface. We will see, or we will experience that there is no life on this earth. The earth is very silent, everything is very dead, especially during the winter season. But actually under the ground, the earth is nurturing life. It is preserving life for future. It is it is a symbolism used here. The earth is symbolic of everything seems dead. It is symbolic of inactivity, and the earth is symbolic of how silently we should keep on doing our activities silently, and we should be productive in our nature, constructive in our nature. Everything seems dead speaks about inactivity that appears to mark the earth when we see it from a distance. It means the earth appears lifeless and still, but it later proves to be alive. How? When we observe closely, or when we see the the eternal process on earth, we realize that the earth nurtures life, and it is always uh, doing something productive. He means to tell us, the poet means to tell us, that the earth can teach people how silence is productive, how serenity and peace can lead to progress. We should, concentrate, we should focus on positive activities. How earth seems calm and quiet at the surface, but below the surface, below the ground, it is actually nurturing life. It is proving to be alive because it brings forth life later on. So, what is the poet's appeal in the last two lines? He wants us to begin with the exercise of counting 12 and the exercise of self introspection. And finally he says, now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. The first two lines that are also quite the same. Let us all count up to 12 and all this and all that, but the last two lines are also somewhere the same, but there is a difference. The first two lines appeal to the reader to count till 12 and keep silent, keep calm, keep at peace. The speaker expresses his desire there for silence and peace as an answer to end the unthoughtful actions, to an end to the mindless activities done by the human beings. Whereas in the last two lines, he wants the people to actually begin the exercise at their own level, begin the exercise of counting till 12. And he says, you move on to initiate this activity and I will go and somewhere else I will ask the people to start with this kind of exercise, with this kind of activity. In conclusion, the poet teaches us through the example of earth, which at one season may look as if dead, but comes back with life in another season. In the winter season, it appears that the earth is dead, but somewhere below the ground, below the surface, the earth was busy nurturing life, preparing for life, during the spring season. Likewise, our life will also bear certain meaning. It will have certain meaning when we walk on the right path, and the right path is to introspect during silent moments. In the last two lines, the poet leaves us to introspect as if he himself has gone through the same, as if he has also experienced such a thing. Thank you, dear children.